Sit down for this one, sister. Really sit down. Pour something warm, turn your phone face down, and let me talk to you the way an uncle would, who's watched too many good women pour themselves into men who never learned how to receive them. Tonight I want to walk you through 3 places on a man's body that he thinks about, that he dreams about, and that he will never ever ask you for directly. By the time we're done, you'll understand something about men that most women go their whole lives without figuring out. It's about something a man can't even admit to himself, something that draws the line between the woman he plays around with and the woman he restructures his entire life around. This isn't a lesson in seduction. This is a lesson in power. Your power, the power you were born holding and that the world slowly talked you into handing away, one apology at a time. Here's what nobody tells you about men. Every man speaks 2 languages. There's the one he uses out loud, and there's the one his soul speaks at 2 a.m. when he can't sleep and can't stop thinking about you. That second language is built entirely out of hunger, one apology at a time. Here's what nobody tells you about men. Every man speaks a hunger to be seen, fully, by one person, in a world that refuses to really look at him. There are 3 places where that hunger lives. 3 places he'll never point to, never request, never name, but when you reach them, something in him cracks open and never fully closes back up. Understand these 3 places and you stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop shrinking. You realize you've been sitting on something valuable your whole life without knowing it. Pressure to provide, pressure to protect, pressure to always have the answer and never look confused, scared, or tired. From boyhood he was told, don't cry, don't complain, figure it out. So he learned to swallow everything, fear, grief, loneliness, and walk around wearing a face that hides all of it. Here's what happens in his body when a woman kisses his forehead slowly, with real intention. His nervous system, which has been on alert since he was a kid, finally exhales. You've probably seen it. A tough, guarded man going completely still when a woman touches his face like he actually matters, and you wondered what just happened. What happened is that his soul got recognized, and once a man's soul has been recognized, he will move heaven and earth to stay close to that feeling, because plenty of women will kiss his mouth, plenty will kiss his body, but almost none go for the place that carries all his weight. She'd tried being sexy, sweet, quiet, fun. Nothing reached him. I told her, stop trying to reach him where every other woman already reaches. Try the one place nobody's tried, where he's tired. Next time he came home after a long day, before saying anything, she was to hold his face in both hands, pull him gently toward her, and kiss his forehead once. No explanation, just let it land. 2 weeks later, she called me, and her whole energy had shifted. He'd cried, a man doesn't want a woman who worships his strength. He wants one who honors his humanity. And the forehead is where that humanity lives. Every unspoken worry, every unnamed dream, every fear carried alone for decades. Land your lips there with tenderness, and without a single word you're telling him, I see the weight. I'm not afraid of it. I'm here. But here's the catch. You cannot fake this. A forehead kiss done with an agenda gets felt instantly as exactly that. A man's body knows the difference between real tenderness and performed tenderness. When this becomes a regular part of your connection, something shifts in how he organizes his whole life. He starts arranging things around access to that feeling, not your body, the feeling. Every other high in his life, money, promotions, applause, is external, something he has to keep chasing. This is internal. It's home. And a man will chase money forever, but the second he tastes home, he stops chasing and stays. That's why the guy everyone swore would never settle down eventually does. There's a world of difference between a woman who tenderly recognizes a man and one who erases herself for him. One is a queen, the other is a doormat. And a man can use a doormat, but he can't love one. You honor his weight without carrying it for him. You see his humanity without becoming his therapist. Kiss his forehead, then go pour yourself a glass of wine and live your own full life. The gesture only means something coming from a woman who has somewhere else to be, who chose to give him that moment and could just as easily have chosen not to. Watch where tension goes when he's stressed, or on guard, or bracing for conflict. His shoulders tighten, his neck goes rigid. That whole region turns to stone because that's where he holds the world back. Most women reach for the places movies taught them to reach for, the mouth, the chest. Nothing wrong with that. But when you press your lips slowly into that valley at his neck, you're kissing his armor directly. You're touching the exact spot he uses to hold everything at bay. And in that instant, the armor cracks. Not because you forced it, but because you honored it. Every man is raised believing his job is to shield the people he loves from danger, from lack, from disappointment, and to do it silently, because a real man never complains about the weight of the shield. When you kiss that spot slowly, you're doing something almost no one in his life has done, acknowledging the shield itself. You're saying, without words, I see what you carry for us. Put it down for a second and let me love the man behind it. That's rare. His mother probably loved him, but leaned on him. Past girlfriends wanted him, but wanted him strong. Nobody came to that shoulder and said, rest here. Take Rachel, 11 years married, feeling like roommates with her husband, respectful but with the fire gone, refusing to beg for his attention. I told her the same thing. Stop trying to seduce him. Try to see him. That night, instead of asking about his day or turning on the TV, she stood behind the couch, put her hands on his shoulders, and instead of the usual massage, bent down and kissed him once, slowly, right where shoulder meets neck. He pulled her into a hug that lasted so long she thought he'd never let go, and that night they talked for 3 hours about things they hadn't discussed in a decade. I feel him again, she told me, for the first time in 10 years. That's why every man wants that spot kissed and will never ask for it. He can't admit he wants to be seen, can't admit he wants to set the shield down, can't admit he needs rest. Do it without being asked, and you become the woman who knew what he needed before he did, the woman a man stays loyal to for life. One warning: the moment tenderness becomes a strategy instead of the truth, it stops working. Men feel that shift even if they can't name it. The same touch that was melting him 2 months ago goes cold overnight because somewhere along the way it turned from real to technique. This isn't a manipulation manual. It's a language that only works fluently if you actually love and respect the man in front of you. And if he isn't that man, don't kiss him anywhere. Walk away and save these places for someone who's earned them. You are not a rest stop or a convenience store. His chest is muscle, what the world sees when his shirt comes off. His heart is buried under bone, muscle, and years of being told to lock it away. To do this one, rest your ear against him. Find his heartbeat, then press your lips there and hold. Not a quick peck, a landing, a settling, a stay. That spot is where his first heartbreak still lives, where every swallowed disappointment sits, where the boy he used to be, the dreamer, the artist, the soft one the world beat out of him, is still curled up, waiting. Hold your lips there, long enough for him to feel your breath through his skin. And something ancient stirs. He remembers who he was before the world hardened him. He remembers being loved without having to earn it, a paycheck, a driver. And you just kissed it awake. Most men never get this in their entire lives. Wives kiss the chest, girlfriends kiss the body. Almost nobody goes to the heart itself, deliberately, slowly, saying, I love who lives in here. I'm not just here for the man the world sees. I'm here for who you are when nobody's watching. She worried she'd made him uncomfortable. Then his hand came up to rest on the back of her head. He swallowed hard. Then something warm hit her cheek. He was crying silently, tears sliding into her hair. After a long time he whispered, My mother used to do that when I was little. She'd lay her hand right there and tell me she loved me. Nobody's touched me there since she died. Tasha realized in that moment she hadn't been missing him for 2 years. She'd been missing permission to reach him. Once she found the right door, he stayed open. Kiss it with reverence, and you tell him something no achievement or paycheck ever could, that he's worthy of being loved for who he is, not what he provides. A word directly to you. You've spent your whole life being taught that a man's love has to be earned, competed for, performed for, that you should shrink or expand or twist yourself into whatever shape the last man demanded. You're tired because that exhaustion is real. Earning love from someone who should be honored just to receive you, they were simply too little for you. There's a real difference between a man who can't handle a woman and a woman who's asking for too much, and you've never been asking for too much. You've just been asking the wrong men. A whole, grown man doesn't flinch from tenderness like this. He kneels, softens, shows up, stays, builds, because he's been waiting his whole life to be received exactly the way you're capable of receiving him. He just didn't know the language existed until you spoke it. So the real question isn't whether you're giving them to the right man. Pour all this tenderness into someone who ghosts you, who half loves you, who keeps you in his waiting room, and no amount of it will fix that relationship. It will only teach him he can access the sacred without paying for it. And the sacred always has a price, not money, not sex, but consistency, commitment, and being chosen out loud, every day, in front of the world. The most common mistake. Most women, hearing something like this, immediately want to try it on the man they're already struggling with. The one who won't commit, the one they've been chasing. Stop right there. These gestures aren't currency for winning a man. They're a reward for blessing one who's already won you. You don't spend your sacredness trying to convince someone to stay. You spend it celebrating someone who already has. If you're picturing a specific man who gives you crumbs, close that door tonight. Don't give him the forehead. Don't give him the shoulder. Don't give him the heart. Give him the exit and take your peace back. Here's the truth nobody says out loud. The moment you stop pouring your sacredness into the wrong cup is the moment the right one becomes visible to you. As long as your hands are full and your energy's drained, you can't see what's being placed in front of you. Take Denise, 42, 20 years of relationships where nobody quite showed up, exhausted, ready to stop trying altogether. I told her that peace on her own was a fine place to start, but before closing the door on love completely, to write down 3 words, forehead, shoulder, heart, and promise herself that the next man wouldn't get any of it until he proved himself over months, not days. He'd get her kindness, her friendship, her presence, but not the sacred gestures until he demonstrated he'd build with her, protect her, honor her, choose her out loud. 6 months later, she met a man who took 9 months to earn his first forehead kiss. When she finally gave it to him, he cried. A year after that, they were married. That's what happens when you stop giving away what's sacred for free. It's biology and psychology. A man's nervous system runs largely in what's called sympathetic dominance, a low-grade state of readiness to fight, protect, solve, provide, from the moment he wakes until he sleeps. Tight shoulders, a set jaw, an elevated heart rate. He may not even notice it anymore because it's felt normal for so long. When a woman touches him with real intention in these 3 places, his nervous system shifts from fight mode into rest mode. Do this consistently, over weeks and months, and his brain literally wires itself around you. You become his safe person on a biochemical level. And once that wiring happens, he doesn't leave, not because he's trapped, but because leaving would mean giving up the only place he gets to actually breathe. No sane man walks away from that. This is also why some relationships last 50 years, and others collapse in 6 months. It's rarely about compatibility or chemistry in the way people assume. It's about whether a woman ever reached the parts of him nobody else reached. Now, you've probably been told that men are drawn to whoever's hardest to get, the one who plays games, withholds, keeps him guessing. There's a grain of truth there. Self-respect is attractive. But a man isn't drawn to a woman who withholds warmth entirely. He's drawn to a woman whose warmth is valuable enough that she's careful who receives it. Two ways this goes wrong. First, giving it too soon. 2 weeks into knowing someone and already kissing his forehead like he's your husband, his shoulder like he's already proven himself your protector, his heart like he's your soulmate, before he's shown you anything over time. You spend the sacredness before it has roots, and the relationship collapses under its own premature intimacy. Second, the opposite, being hurt so many times that even when the right man finally shows up, patient and consistent for months or years, you still hold back out of fear. That fear starves the relationship. A man who's earned entry and still isn't let in eventually starts to wonder if the sanctuary is even real, and he leaves, not because he wanted to, but because you never actually let him in. The wisdom lives in the middle. Don't give it away in week 1, and don't hoard it forever either. Watch. Wait. Test with reality, not games. Does he show up when he says he will? Stay steady when things get hard. Speak of you with respect when you're not around. Treat strangers and waitstaff with the same dignity he shows you. It's yours first, and letting someone in is a privilege you're extending. One a man who receives it will feel in his bones and won't squander. What these 3 places symbolize beyond the physical. Even without literally kissing these spots, you can give a man these 3 things in other ways and change everything between you. The forehead represents rest. A man needs a woman who is a place of peace, not another battlefield, someone whose own centeredness means his storms don't destabilize her. That's not the same as being a doormat or swallowing your feelings. It's having done your own healing so thoroughly that your calm becomes contagious. That's not the same as being a doormat or swallowing your feelings. It's having done your own healing so thoroughly that your calm becomes contagious. That's not the same as being a doormat or swallowing your feelings. It's having done your own healing so thoroughly that your calm becomes contagious. A man needs to feel that when you look at him, you see his effort, his trying, the good in him, not another critic layered on top of a world that critiques him daily. This doesn't mean ignoring real flaws or tolerating disrespect. It means seeing the whole picture, light and shadow, and choosing to speak more to the light, because whatever you speak to tends to grow. The heart represents belonging. A man needs one place in the world where his belonging isn't up for debate. Not possessive or suffocating, just settled, rooted, home. That belonging is built through consistency, showing up, communicating, repairing what breaks, deciding that we doesn't get dissolved by whatever happens outside of it. To the woman who feels like she has nothing sacred left. If you're listening to this feeling tired, lonely, or like you've already given your sacredness to people who didn't deserve it, hear this. The sacred isn't depleted by being given to the wrong person. It's only depleted if you stop believing in its value. Loving unwisely in the past doesn't diminish your worth. Every relationship that failed taught you something. Every man who didn't choose you cleared space, who no longer chases or begs or bends herself into apologies to fit someone else's small life. A woman who says, "I am the sanctuary, and whoever wants access will earn it or they won't have it," and is at peace either way, because her worth was never tied to his decision. 3 phrases to carry with you. I am the sanctuary. Not a hotel, not a rest stop. A sanctuary, and a sanctuary chooses who enters. My tenderness is a reward, not bait. I don't use it to earn a man. I use it to bless one who's already earned me. The right one will kneel at my door, and I won't open until he does. My worth doesn't depend on the door being knocked on. It depends on the door being kept. That's the posture to carry from here forward. How you walk, speak, love. Any man who can't meet you at that level simply isn't your man. One last picture before we close. Somewhere out there right now is a tired man, a genuinely good one, who's been strong for people who never thanked him, reliable for people who took him for granted, carrying weight nobody helped him with. He's starting to wonder if anyone will ever really see past his role, his performance, his shield. He doesn't know your name or your face yet, but some part of him believes a woman is coming who will finally reach the places nobody's reached, who will let him set the shield down and rest. Your job isn't to go find him, it's to become the woman who's ready when he arrives. That means healing, growing, softening into your own fullness, raising your standard, guarding your sanctuary, and becoming so rooted in your own worth that he can't possibly miss you when your paths cross. Because a man who spent his whole life waiting to be received recognizes the woman who can actually do it. His spirit knows, his body knows. Forehead, shoulder, heart. 3 quiet addresses that hold a man's weight, his guard, and his soul. 3 gestures he'll never ask for, out loud, but will never forget. Now you know the language his soul speaks in the dark. You know the difference between a woman who's worshipped and one who's truly chosen. Knowledge that isn't lived is just information. So don't just hear this, carry it. Walk like a woman who knows. Love like a woman who knows. Withhold like a woman who knows. And when you're ready, not right away, let it settle first. Pass it on to the sister who needs it too. The one who's tired, the one who's still chasing, the one still giving her sacred away to someone who can't honor it. You are seen, you are enough, and the right one is already on his way. Your only job is to keep the sanctuary sacred until he arrives.